There comes a moment in the life of a nation when silence becomes betrayal, when obedience is not loyalty but slow suicide, and when bowing to the same hands that choke you is not diplomacy. It is surrender. My name is Captain Ibrahim Traoré. I have no polished tongue shaped by think tanks, no cologne of multinational boardrooms on my collar. I was not trained in Washington nor groomed in Geneva. I speak with the dust of the battlefield in my throat and the weight of generations on my back. I come from the soil where my people bleed and where the earth remembers. This story is not a press release. It is a reckoning, and it begins now. For too long, Africa has been treated like a debtor's prison, handed keys that were never meant to open doors, only to tighten shackles. For too long, institutions like the International Monetary Fund came with smiles and contracts. But behind the smiles were poisoned arrows, behind the contracts, colonial fingerprints. They called themselves doctors, but their medicine kills the patient. Their loans arrive with fanfare, but their conditions dig graves, privatization, austerity, cuts. They speak of reform, but what they really mean is obedience to economic models built in foreign laboratories, never meant to grow on African soil. We are not your experiments. We are not pawns on your chessboard. Burkina Faso, Africa itself, is waking up. And when we wake, we do not ask for permission to breathe. I do not come to beg. I do not come to plead for relief. I come to say what few African leaders have dared to say with a full voice. We will no longer accept economic policies that turn our people into beggars while our gold lines Western vaults and our children starve. Under the weight of your spreadsheets. You dress it up in phrases, structural adjustment, financial discipline, stabilization, but we live it as structural punishment, generational despair, and economic strangulation. Tell me, how can a land, rich in gold, uranium, cobalt, and fertile earth, be poor? They blame us. Mismanagement, corruption, incompetence. But many of our wounds were inflicted by the same hands now offering us bandages with interest. This debt you celebrate in your ledgers, it has a face. It looks like children studying under candlelight because power was privatized and sold to foreign investors. It looks like hospitals with broken beds and mothers dying because public spending was slashed to meet your targets. It looks like millions of graduates with no future, their industries gutted by liberalization. And worst of all, it looks like dignity broken. You lend us $500 million, but in return, we pay back billions over decades, with interest, restructuring, fees and privatization clauses that rob us of the very breath we need to stand. You say we sign the contracts willingly, but what is consent when the medicine has a price tag and the alternative is death? What is choice when the gun is not at your head but behind you, pointed at a starving child? This is not aid. It is economic. Coercion, not development, domination, not globalization, neocolonialism and financial ropes. And we, the new generation, are no longer blind. We no longer cheer for crumbs. We no longer applaud policies that choke our economies in the name of efficiency. Africa does not owe you. You owe Africa. For the gold mined under colonial boots. For the cobalt in your phones while our villages remain in darkness. For the diamonds that gleam in your cities while we bleed in silence. But even still, we do not ask for pity. We ask for justice. Justice that begins with the end of exploitative debt. Justice that allows African nations to audit what we owe and who benefited. Justice that allows us to chart our own financial future. And if that makes you uncomfortable, good, because the comfortable must now be confronted. You say you do not govern us, but you write our budgets. You do not vote in our elections, but your approval determines if our economies live or die. This is not neutrality. This is political engineering, with suitcases instead of soldiers. You come politely, cut subsidies, devalue your currency, liberalize your market. But what is politeness when starvation is the cost of refusal? We were told austerity would cleanse corruption. Instead, it killed hope. We were told the free market would lift us. Instead, it lifted our wealth and flew it offshore. And when our people protest, you wash your hands. You call our leaders radical, unstable, populist. But tell me, what is more radical than forcing a nation to choose between feeding its children and paying off debt? You say the system works, but we ask, for whom? This entire global order, the trade rules, the credit ratings, the sanctions, the lobbies, was not built for Africa to win. It was built to extract, to exploit, and to exclude. So no, we will not keep playing a rigged game with rigged referees. We will not continue exporting raw materials and importing poverty. We will not allow our land to feed your machines while our people go hungry. We are not broken. The system is. And if it will not change willingly, then we, the children of Sankara, Nkrumah, Lumumba, and all those yet unborn, we will change it ourselves. But what is our way forward? Self-reliance. Not isolation, but dignity. Not arrogance, but authorship of our own future. We will feed ourselves. We will rewrite education to teach our children their own heroes, their own genius, and their own worth. We will not just own the minds, we will refine, process, and profit from what is ours. We will unite politically, economically, and technologically, not as 54 scattered voices, but as one chorus, one continent, one force. And most of all, we will trust our people. The mechanic in Ouagadougou, the coder in Kigali, the farmer in Kisangani. They are just as brilliant as any consultant in Paris. The savior we seek is not coming on a plane. He is already here, in our hands, our hearts, and our unity. To my people, young and old, know this. You are not powerless. Real power begins not at the top, but with you. With the mother who feeds her children before herself. With the girl who walks miles for school. With the street preacher, the teacher, the tailor. But we have been taught to wait, to clap for crumbs, to fear those who fail us. No more. We must reclaim 5 sacred rights. The right to question, the right to organize, the right to information, the right to refuse, and the right to dream. Dream, not of escape, but of change. This is not just resistance, it is reconstruction. Africa will not rise through speeches. It will rise through soil-stained hands, ink-stained books, and steel-stained factories. We are not asking for permission. We are building what was always ours, not through war, but through will. Not through hate, but through healing. Not through begging, but through building. The dawn is here, and we will never return to the chains.